Good evening. Thank you for attending the regular meeting of your Board of Commissioners. We've got a lot happening tonight, so I will ask you to, if you notice the agenda, I am not Chairman Barra. He couldn't make it tonight. I'm Vice Chairman Charlie Hall. And tonight, we're going to have the invocation started by our County Manager, Lance Metzler. And then following that, we'll ask you to remain standing, and we'll ask Don Powell, a former County Commissioner, to lead us in the pledge. So please stand if you are able.
If you would, please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, as the Board of Commissioners gathers for this meeting, we ask for your wisdom, discernment, and unity. Guide each discussion and decision they may have. Serve the people of Rockingham County with integrity, fairness, and compassion. Grant patience in debate, clarity in planning, and respect among all present. Help these leaders work together for the safety, growth, and well-being of our community. May their service reflect dedication to the public good and bring positive outcomes for all citizens. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please remain standing.
Appropriate response to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Well, tonight, we're honored to have two recognitions, and the first one will be inviting Donald Cruz, our PIO, to come forward. And gentlemen, if you will, let's stand and we'll go down for both presentations.
Because he's not here, but if he needs it to read.
We have a nice crowd behind us tonight, folks. All right, folks, as everyone is coming up and greeting the commissioners, just want to kind of talk about what this nice group of folks are up here for this evening. My name is Daniel Cruz. I'm the Public Information Officer here in Rockingham County, and one of my duties I'm privileged to be a part of here in Rockingham County is to spearhead the Citizens Academy. Citizens Academy is a program that we do once a year, and that brings in folks from throughout the community. And the goal with Citizens Academy is to open our doors, invite everyone in who wants to learn more about what we do. There's a lot of things that happen in county government that a lot of folks may not realize, and I think these folks tonight can attest to that as well. This is an 8-week program, and these folks got to hear from every department head in the county, and they ask a lot of questions. They were not afraid to hold back questions by any means, which is great. That's what we want. That's the goal of this program, is to enlighten people and share the knowledge that we have, what we do with everyone. And there's, again, so many things that a lot of folks may not know, and that was our goal. So we thank all of these folks for coming out for this 8-week program. We held it through March and April. We fed them every night, and we thank them for coming out to learn what we do, because, again, it's so important for us to open our doors, to be transparent, and let you know what we do, because, again, that's what we're here for. We're here to serve you, and sharing what we do is part of that goal. So just to read through the folks who are behind me, some of them may not be here tonight, but we have Linda Jordan, Robert Jordan, Rita Shelton, Pamela Miskell, Daniel Gregg, Kenneth Layfield, James Rosa, Jean Conroy, Donna Conroy, Phyllis Chambers, Michelle Hernandez, Kendra Wheeler, Spencer Odell, Michelle Phillips, Tina Lawson, John Malo, and Brenda Malo. We want to thank them for coming out and joining us for Citizens Academy this year. It will be back next year. We hold it every spring. And I think every one of them tonight has told me one way or another how they encourage everyone to come out and participate. So please look for that next spring. Sign up and come out and join us. We would love to have you join us and to be a part of Citizens Academy next year. To each and every one of you, thank you for coming out, spending time with us, learning what we do. You're the reason we do this, and y'all are now our voices for the community, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, and all Without me in it this time. All right, 1, 2, and 3. Let's see if we got. Perfect. Thank y'all again very much. Thank you.
Congratulations, good job. Thank you, sir.
For our next thing, I'll ask former County Commissioner Don Powell to come up.
Houston wasn't able to finish signing this one. Okay. So we'll just read it and we'll get it framed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored tonight to have the opportunity to read a resolution prepared by the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners in honor of Richard Earl Carden for his service to Southern gospel music. For many years, Rockingham County has had the privilege of calling home to some of the greatest gospel groups in Southern gospel music. Most of you are familiar with the Hoppers over in Madison, the Down East Boys out of Reidsville. One powerhouse is Janet Paschal, who makes her home here sometimes, and sometimes it's in Caswell. We kind of share her. But in 1970s, there was another group called the Messenger Quartet. And Richard, his wife, and some others started that, and they sang all up and down the eastern seaboard with the groups that were popular at that time. And little did they know that their son was developing a taste for this. And in 1994, Ricky bought the Down East Boys, and Richard took on another role in Southern gospel music, that of financing, working on the bus, driving the bus, and doing the everyday chores with keeping a gospel group rolling, because he had a love for Southern gospel music and believed that that was the way that he could spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to the rest of the world, was through Southern gospel music. On May the 3rd of this year, Richard entered his heavenly home, the one that he sang and preached about for years and years and years. And so this resolution says, State of North Carolina, Rockingham County, resolution honoring Richard Earl Carden for his dedicated service to Southern gospel music. Whereas Richard Earl Carden was born on September 10th, 1950, was the son of a preacher, and was grounded in his faith from an early age, a foundation that would shape the way he lived, loved, and served others. And whereas at the age of 17, Richard met the woman he would marry, Deborah Paschal, and in 1969, he moved from Durham, North Carolina to Reidsville, North Carolina, married and started a family. And whereas Richard had developed a love for Southern gospel music, and he, his wife, and others formed the group, the Messengers Quartet, which sang along the East Coast with groups such as the Oak Ridge Boys, the Hoppers, the Happy Goodman family, and the Florida Boys, using his talent to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ through song. And whereas in 1994, his son Ricky Carden, following in his father's footsteps, became the owner of the Down East Boys Quartet, a Southern gospel quartet based in Reidsville, North Carolina, singing across the United States. And whereas the Down East Boys have had 7 #1 hits, numerous top 10 songs, and recently won Quartet of the Year at the 2026 Absolute Gospel Awards in Nashville, Tennessee. And whereas Richard Carden continued his love of Southern gospel music by becoming an integral part of the Down East Boys, helping to finance the group in its early days, driving and maintaining the bus, and serving as a business consultant for his son, in an effort to ensure the success of the group and the continued witness of the goodness of God through word and song. Therefore, let it be resolved by the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners that Richard Earl Carden is hereby honored for his dedication to Southern gospel music throughout Rockingham County and beyond, adopted the 18th day of May, 2026. I'd like to call his wife, Deborah, and his son, Ricky, up here. Just tell you that Houston's out. He has not been able to sign the resolution, so they'll get him to sign it and give you the original. We'll get that framed for you. Come right here. You want to get a picture?
Oh, sure. Let me just say thank you to all. Let me just say thanks to all the commissioners and for Don and my dad loved this county. He loved the music. he loved the Lord and he loved people. And I believe if he leaves anything with us, it is to challenge us as a family and all the folks that he knew to serve other folks and be a blessing to people. And it always pays good return. I believe that. So thanks to him for planting that in me. And I hope we carry a little bit of that along the way. So thank you all so much for this. We certainly appreciate it. Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks
Take
so
care. Have a
much.
good day.
Yes, sir.
As we make our way back to our seats, I'm going to ask Daniel Cruz, our PIO.
I'll get this to
Where are
you.
you, Daniel? You're in here somewhere, right? Daniel. Did I lose him?
Daniel.
Believe it or not, I did tell him this is where I was going to ask him to come up. I did tell you this is where I was going to ask you to come up, didn't I? Okay. Well, tell us about Thursday night and this event that we just held here. Thank you.
So Thursday night was a big night for us here in Rockingham County. Let's take it back to early spring. Had an idea planted in my head from Lance, the county manager, from some conversation that employees had, that we should do something for the community, open our doors. We just talked about we do that for Citizens Academy. Well, let's do a big night. Citizens Academy, we can't bring everyone in all at one time, but we would love to open our doors to the community. So that led us to Citizens Night. So this was a months-long plan for us. This brought together all of our departments within the county. This brought together the community with a cruise-in for classic cars. This brought food trucks out all right here to the Governmental Center. This brought in partnerships with many local businesses who donated door prizes at no cost for us to give away for folks just coming out to attend. So this was a multifaceted event. We had great giveaways from our local businesses to turn around and support and advertise our local businesses. We had our doors open, folks to come out, see us, what we do, ask questions. We opened the doors for our food trucks, small businesses again, who serve Rockingham County. And we had our cruise in just to add a little extra spice and some fun for folks. We had over 500 people by our counts attend this event on Thursday night. Food trucks were running out of food. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's great for them. And that just shows the support we got from the community from this. And speaking to employees and hearing folks from the community, they want us to do it again. The good news is we will. Obviously, we had great response from this one. We're going to plan it again for next year as well. But it was so good to see so many folks from the community. It was a chilly night. We had some wind. We had really kind of some cloud cover, but that didn't hold people back. We appreciate folks coming out, asking those questions. Again, it was an opportunity to open our doors once more so you can come out and see what we do, ask those questions, have some fun, and it was all put on by your county government. The good news with this too is we invited everyone to come. So that was a big thing for us, is this was not something that we had to put tax money out for. That was great. We invited the food trucks. We invited the folks to come sit up and spend some time from our departments. We invited the folks to come to the cruise in. We got things donated for us. So this was great in so many ways. We had great response from it, and we cannot wait to do it again next year. So we're already looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. I appreciate you giving us that update. I attended. It was a wonderful event. Thank you for all staff that participated in it. And Mr. Manager, we appreciate the leadership on that. Thank you, folks. We appreciate you. With that, the next item on our agenda is a request to approve the May 18th agenda. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion.
We have a motion. Is there a
Second.
second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is our consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are non-controversial items. However, if anyone has questions about the items, please contact Lance Metz, our county manager. Are there any members who want to move any items from the consent agenda? Nothing heard. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Very good. Motion carries. Next item takes us down to public comment. With that, we have one person who has signed up to speak. Marion Stein or Stone, is that right? Marvin, I apologize. Now, you said you're going to talk about property. Would this be one of the rezoning issues tonight?
Yes, it was rezoned at your last meeting.
Okay,
C.E.
okay.
Robinson. I was at Chapel Hill for treatments 10 times this year. I'm Marvin Stone. I live at 2904 and C14 Reidsville, the first house built on 14. I'm married. This June, we'll celebrate our 70th wedding anniversary. I'm also an Army veteran. We have one daughter, lives in Stokesdale. She's married to Bob Yates Jr. And I own a property up at Harrison Crossroad Loops. The big house is 396, and a small house beside of it's 107. It's on approximate acre of land. I want to divide it. I want to sell the big house. It's been in the Stone family over 100 years. My grandpa moved here from High Point on a 2-horse wagon. Can you imagine that? Any questions?
Mr. Stone, let me say, you've signed up under public comment, not the public hearing for the rezoning.
Well, I'm doing what I was told to do.
I understand, but if you will bear with me, I'm going to let you continue on in just a few minutes. But we will go to the rezoning case shortly and let Mr. Barr make the presentation, and then you'll have an opportunity to speak, and you'll actually have more time than the 3 minutes allowed during public comment.
Okay.
So if you'll bear with me, at this point, I will move ahead to item 8, public hearing, Adam Barr, and let you make the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Before us tonight is zoning planning case 2026-04. This is the Stone rezoning. This property is located at 1396 Harrison Crossroad Loop, and the tax bin for the record is 799704830555. This is coming to us as a conventional rezoning to go from residential agriculture to residential protected. And just as a general reminder, with a conventional rezoning, we'll be looking at all the allowed uses and regulations in both of the zoning districts, in this case RA and RP, and seeing if it fits in the character of the area. The planning board did see this at their last meeting and voted unanimously for approval. As you can see, this property is kind of in the middle of the county, just northeast of Wentworth. And here we'll have a zoning map of the property. It's kind of at the confluence of about 3 roads, Harrison Crossroad and Barrymore and Mount Garner Church. As you can see, pretty much the north and east of the area is all zoned residential agriculture, and then just directly to the south across the road we'll have residential protected and some more residential protected to the west. There are currently 2 homes on the property, and as Mr. Stone alluded to, really kind of the main impetus for this is with the 2 homes, it's kind of already built out. So they're wanting to subdivide the property, but the minimum lot size requirements for the RA kind of doesn't allow for that. They're just barely under that. So just making that change to RP bumps that down a little bit to allow them to subdivide the property and potentially sell off that other home. And this area is categorized in our land use plan in that G1 category, which is our low density growth transect. So we do find that this meets all the qualifications of the land use plan. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Gentlemen, do we have any questions at this time? Nothing heard. Let me open the public hearing. You can sit down for just a minute. We're going to open the public hearing. And with that, Mr. Attorney, I'll let you read the guidelines for public hearing.
Thank you, Mr.
Comment.
Chairman. All those desiring to speak during the public hearing have signed in on the sign-up sheet. And when your name is called, come forward, direct your comments to the chair. And you'll have 3 minutes to make your statement. And I think our gentleman has already come up, so at this time, if you want to invite him back to continue his statement on the zoning matter, Mr. Stone.
With Mr. Stone being the applicant, he would have up to 15 minutes to speak. If you'd like to continue, or if you're fine, you're the only one who has signed up to speak tonight, so it's not required. What am I supposed to do? You're not required to do anything, Mr. Stone.
Tell you what, Mr. Stone, we can make it. Before I say anything more, Mr. Stone, thank you for being a veteran. We appreciate your service. And congratulations on 70 years of marriage. That's indeed an accomplishment. Well done. Mr. Chair, notwithstanding further questions or comments, I move approval of the zoning request.
Well, with that, I need to close the meeting. If Mr. Stone does not need to say anything further, if you want to speak, you can, but you're not required to. I'm okay. Thank you, Mr. Stone. With that, is there any other comments from our board? Anyone else want to speak who has not signed up? With that, we're going to close the public hearing.
Motion remains.
All right, we do have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. I will ask one more time, any discussion? Nothing heard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Stone. Good luck. Yes, sir. Item B on our agenda is Lance Metzler, County Manager.
Mr. Vice Chair, I would ask that we turn this over to Bill Lester with LKC Engineering. This is in regards to shutting out the CDBG coronavirus grant for Rockingham County. Lester?
Two cases.
We do have one.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Lance. As Lance mentioned, the purpose of this public hearing is to gather any citizen comments prior to closing out this grant. This grant was from the Community Development Block Grant Program in response to the coronavirus. The original intent of this grant was to provide rental and utility assistance to those who were affected in a negative way, to allow them to make these payments without eviction or turning off their utilities. In the beginning, we thought there was going to be a great demand. Without going into a lot of detail, there were other programs doing the same thing at that time. This program did not allow double dipping. There was a very detailed way of making sure that didn't happen. So we ended up only serving 22 households in that manner. From that time, the State Department that was running it asked the county to go out and find some other activities that you could use to spend that money, since it was from the coronavirus program. I don't want to go into the details, but over about a 2-year period, the county manager and the staff tried numerous different things to present to the state for that eligibility. What we ended up with was some outdoor activities, sidewalk replacement work in the town of Mayodan, as the town of Mayodan as a whole is greater than 51% low and moderate income, which was the requirement to spend that, one of the requirements of spending the money. After the county approval to do that, the project had a very short timeline, so we went to work immediately and was able to do that. Anybody going through the town, you can see that immediate area from the stoplight, almost a block in every direction, has been replaced, upgraded sidewalks, things made easier to move about and do outdoor activities. The pedestrian improvements did benefit 52.4% low and moderate income. Likewise, I should have said the 22 households served with the rental assistance served 100% low and moderate income. The rental and utility assistance projects not taking up much of the money, we ended up with the pedestrian improvements of $605,729.95 expended. And public services of that was $33,429.53, with administration at $50,852.45. So the total you expended was $690,011.93. This, as I mentioned, this public hearing is to gather any comments that we might have prior to closing out the grant. And once we hear those comments, address those comments, and close the public hearing would be to gain the board's motion and approval to direct the staff to sign and forward all the closeout documents to officially close the project. I'll take any questions or allow the comments at this time.
Comments or questions? With that, we're going to open the public hearing, and we have no one who has signed up to speak tonight. So is there anyone here in the audience who would like to speak on this issue? With that, nothing heard. We'll close the public hearing. Gentlemen, any questions? Any comments? With that, we would seek a motion.
I've got one.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Am I assuming that the remaining portion of that 900,000 is going back to the federal government?
Yes, sir, that is correct. Well, it will go back to the North Carolina Department of Commerce. At that time, I think they will have to distribute that back to the federal level of HUD, because this money, because of the timing of it, once we were finally approved for the sidewalk improvements, it had a sometime in April deadline for the last expenditure. So no more funds can be expended from that.
Well, I hate we lost out.
If they would have allowed us to move a little faster, it would have been better, but we did win a little bit. I think at one time, we didn't think we was going to do anything except the 22 households with the rental assistance. So getting that very late approval, we were able to work with a really good contractor that completed a lot of work in a very short amount of time. So in a way, we had a pretty good win too.
So the actual construction had to be complete?
It had to be
not
complete,
just contracted?
It had to be complete and expended by that April deadline. And we were only approved in November, December.
Well, I have a used calendar, but it says we're in May, and I trust it, so that's the end of my comments.
Gentlemen, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We do have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll help coordinate all the closeouts.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Adam, I'm glad you didn't leave. I skipped right by the second item, so
Absolutely, no
I apologize.
worries.
Our next is case number 2026-06. Text amendment. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a text amendment that I don't think is really changing the substance of the ordinance per se. It's really just to kind of add a little bit more clarity and to make this just a little bit more explicit. Really, it just very simply, it's just going to be adding in language, like I said, to clarify and make explicit that one principal building is permitted per lot in residential districts. This is something that staff has probably been interpreting the ordinance this way since we've had an ordinance. And there's certainly quite a lot of different other things that rest on this premise within the ordinance. Several things kind of rest on, I mean, just the general nature of what single family is kind of rests on this assumption a little bit. But there's nowhere in the ordinance currently that makes that very clear and explicit. So, just kind of in day-to-day interacting with people, telling people this general rule and principle of the ordinance, it's usually just a lot easier if I can have just an actual individual sentence that I can point to that, this is where this says that kind of thing. So the planning board did see this and voted unanimously to recommend approval at their last meeting. And here is going to be some of the language of the ordinance. This is already in the ordinance. This is just kind of giving a little bit of detail of where we put this at. We have some kind of general descriptions of each of the zoning districts. So this is where we decided to add this language in. And then here's the actual verbiage of the language, talking about only one principal building and its customary accessory building shall be placed on a zoning lot or lot of record unless otherwise stated by this ordinance. So we added that to the 3 main residential zoning districts that we have, the RA, RP, and RM districts. And yeah, like I said, it's just really just to make this fairly important kind of philosophical backbone of the ordinance just very clear and explicit in the ordinance, just to make sure we have that language specifically to point to.
Can you scroll back for just a second?
This one or the first page? Okay.
Okay. I guess what I'm just curious of is whether, or what the process would be with several of our RA designated lots being, or could be larger in size. What would the process be for someone to build maybe a in-law suite behind their house or something to that effect?
Yeah, so we do have, and this is actually some of that kind of logic that we point to, is that we do already have what's the ordinance calls an accessory dwelling unit. This is going to be something that's permitted in all of those residential zoning districts kind of otherwise. So that would be something that we allow, something like a mother-in-law suite, a guest home. Pretty much, if you've got an individual home, you can build one of those. There's certain limitations to it. It's got to be kind of secondary to the main home. There's some size constraints and things like that to it. But nothing about this new language would change any of that allowances that's kind of already there kind of separately.
That's all.
Any other questions? Commissioner Callan?
If you're building a separate building, is there a restriction on the size? Is it compared to the size of the home or 75% of the home? Or does it allow you to build, a structure bigger than the home?
So for that accessory dwelling unit that we were just talking about, so the specific limitations to that size-wise is, so you would already have one main home and then you're looking to build a secondary smaller one on the property. In that instance, you could build at least a 650 square foot home or one that's 50% of the size of the larger, bigger home, whichever one is greater. Okay. So if you've got like a 2,000 square foot home, for instance, you can build up to 1,000 on that other one. No matter what, you can do 650 square feet. So like I said, that's already in the ordinance as a thing. If you were to like exceed that, or you were to want to build more homes on the property than that, that's kind of the trigger point for the need for subdivision.
Is there an acreage size or a certain size lot that this falls under, or doesn't?
There is not. Basically, if you've already got a lot and you've already got a home, you can kind of already qualify for that. Really just kind of so long as you can make the practical specifics fit, so long as you got both homes, adequate septic and everything like that, you're meeting setback requirements and all of those things. If you can make it fit, then you would able to get something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Just a quick one, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it mandatory or possible for shared wells and septic fields?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we see somewhat commonly. That would usually just end up kind of coming through either some sort of easement, some sort of written contractual agreement, often through deeds and things like that to potentially.
I just wanted to confirm that since there is a restriction on how close a well can be to a septic field and so forth.
Yeah, of course.
Very good. Any other questions, gentlemen? With that, we'll open the public hearing, and no one has signed up to speak on this issue as well. Let me pull it up, 06. Yeah, there. So that being said, we will now close the public hearing. Again, I'll ask any further discussion. With that, we'll ask for a motion. We have a motion, a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Adam. I apologize for overlooking the second item tonight. With that, that takes us to a presentation by Ms. Lindsay Pegg. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Greatly appreciate your time, Mr. Chair and commissioners. We're going to give a short presentation, and most of you all may not know I like to come up every now and then just to kind of give you an update on where we are in terms of outdoor recreation, specifically in our county, and how we're using those assets that we have to boost tourism. So I have some partners here with me tonight, so I'm very fortunate. I have Palmer McIntyre with Piedmont Legacy Trails and Piedmont Land Conservancy. I have Jesse Day with Piedmont Triad Regional Council and Miss Anna Wheeler with Dan River Basin Association. So if it's okay, we're going to kind of bounce around. We're going to each take a part of this presentation and kind of highlight what we've been doing, what's been happening in terms of kind of just as it says up there in the business of trails and how we're using trails to boost our economy and quality of life. So with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Palmer.
How do I advance that? Okay, you say, all right. Okay, cool. Well, 2 weeks ago, it was Economic Development Week, and there were significant economic development impacts shared here in Rockingham County, including job growth, capital investment, visitor spending, positive tax revenue, and all that's good for Rockingham County. We want to share tonight how trails and trail infrastructure also contributes to that county bottom line and county quality of life. And so when we think about infrastructure, we might think about roads, we might think about water, schools, healthcare networks, and such forth. But we also want to tell you that trails are also essential infrastructure in a community, and they will help drive economic growth in Rockingham County. They'll help create creative communities in our county and also lead to statewide investment in the county. So Piedmont Legacy Trail was founded in about 2016, a partnership project between Piedmont Regional Council and Piedmont Land Conservancy, and we had some goals with this program. One of the goals is to advance trails across the region and advocate for trails, improve regional connectivity, and provide educational opportunities among trail partners across the region. But also it's about building partnerships, facilitating cross-jurisdictional projects. That happens quite a lot, collaborating on funding sources, and then sharing knowledge from all of our counties in this region, but also building public support, showcasing trails in our region to help people understand you don't have to go to the mountains to have a great outdoor recreation experience. We have that here and more right here in the Piedmont Triad and right here in Rockingham County. So our region is the 12 county, it's the PTRC's region, and when we first launched this program, we went around to all of our counties and we asked for resolutions of support for trails. And so we came to this Board of Commissioners back in 2018 and got that resolution of support, and we're here tonight with a second round. And the benefits of trails are many. I'll go over these just really quickly. We already talked about quality of life. People want trails. They want access to safe places to walk and opportunities to engage with nature because they enjoy those types of experiences. But there's also the economic impact. We have studies in North Carolina that show that for every dollar that's invested in a trail, $1.72 is returned back annually in terms of business revenue, sales tax, job creation, health benefits. And those health benefits are real. Trails are free. There's no barrier to using them. They're available to the public, and it promotes healthy movement of our bodies, improving health outcomes. I already talked about safety, environmental stewardship. Trails are often in those conservation areas, so a double benefit there. And then, like I said, it's a smart investment. It more than pays for itself. And outdoor recreation is a growing industry. In North Carolina, that industry delivered $17.8 billion of value in 2024 statewide, and that is with Hurricane Helene dramatically impacting a lot of our western counties. That number was an increase of 4.3% over 2023. We're just continuing to see those numbers go up in North Carolina. So it accounts for over 155,000 jobs, and the national impact of outdoor recreation is over $1 trillion. Again, very job focused. So here in Rockingham County, this type of infrastructure definitely strengthens our economy, and it drives visitor spending, attracts tourism, but also is good for our communities.
All right, I'm going to jump in. So, and this map here just kind of proves to you that in Rockingham County, how big, and basically the impact of outdoor recreation for us and those assets that we have. We have over 20 miles of walking and biking trails. We have over 87 miles of paddle trails, 1 national recreation trail, 2 state trails, 2 state parks, 4 rivers and 3 lakes. So outdoor recreation is a strong economic driver in Rockingham County. And this all happens, 2 things that I like to talk about are partnerships and planning. And we've been doing this all along. These are just a few of the plans that we've gone through, at least in the 4 years that I've been here, with these partners that are standing beside me. And what we've accomplished and what you'll see later, just a bit, we couldn't do it without these partners and just the planning that goes into these. I guess I could lay there. And you all know, and you all know me, I am the queen of ROCO. So you've seen this, and this was a big, when we rebranded back in 2021, thinking about what our mission is and how we're going to drive visitors to Rockingham County was very, that is what we thought about. We thought about how can we be a premier destination for visitors and businesses and outdoor enthusiasts. So all of the ROCO branding you're going to see with our messaging is very much about how do we get people here in our county, how do we get them outdoors, and then after they've played on the rivers, they've hiked, they've biked, how do we get them into our downtowns, and how do we get them to stay overnight? So branding and that mission that we've had is helping us drive this kind of outdoor recreation economy that we've created. And we do that, and you've seen these through our visitor guide, our ROCO Blue Way guide, our quilt trail, and just a lot of the promotional assets that we have that are geared towards outdoor enthusiasts. So those folks that like to get out on the rivers and the trails, who bike, who might want to camp. We have a lot of RV parks, and we have unique other places to stay. So trails are, as Palmer said, an essential infrastructure for Rockingham County's future, driving economic growth and healthy communities. I'm going to let Anna take over this piece so we could talk a little bit about what that funding, and because trails just don't build themselves. I know I've talked about this with you all before, but she's going to talk a little bit about what that funding has looked like over the last 10 years.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay. Just a reminder, when we're looking outside in, there's been a lot of investment in Rockingham County outside of Rockingham County. So over the past decade, Rockingham County has brought in more than $18 million in outside funding for outdoor recreation. And that is due to the groundwork of the planning, all of the planning investment that's gone into this community as well. So all of those master plans, all of these partnerships have been integral to creating this outside funding source that has continued to bring trail development and funding outside of the county as well. So I won't go through all of the partners that have worked on this, but I just wanted to, reiterate, we have local groups like North Carolina Community Foundation, Reidsville Area Foundation that have put in a significant amount of funding, as well as regional, state, and federal dollars as well. So you can see the state has put in a significant amount of funding into our outdoor recreation in Rockingham County. So, yep. On to the next one. Cool. And then along with this, just sharing how much people are using these trails, using these assets. So this is a visitor count from All Trails. If you've not used it before, it's an amazing resource. It's an app on your phone, and you can look at all the trails anywhere where you're at. So if you're in Rockingham County, it'll geolocate you and share the trails nearby you. So Rockingham County's been working in partnership with All Trails for a few years now, just making sure that the information's up to date and actually using their data to inform the public about what's going on. So we just wanted to highlight that the green bar is the most recent data, and you can tell that it's trending upward, right? So every year that we're moving on, increasing our outdoor recreation, we're also increasing our users on those trails. And a lot of them are from outside of the county when they're using All Trails. That's a very popular thing for people who are visiting the area. Great. And so another highlight, just there's a lot of very popular trails, and so you'll see a breakdown of each of the trails. Fall Creek Falls at the Maya River is very popular, as you can tell, and this is just from one app, right? This is just from All Trails. So if we were showing data from people's phones or something like that, it would be a little bit different, but this is just from one app, which is very surprising to see how significant people are enjoying this area and all of the resources. So you can see it's a variety of locations. It's not just Mayo River, it's lots of other places as well. And I'd just add that all of these loved places can become overloved if we do not have additional trails for people to celebrate. Great. All right, and then just talking about the impact of trails on our return of investment, I just wanted to highlight Lindsay and Rockingham County Tourism in between 2021 and 2022 introduced the Blue Way Guide, and that was a 13% increase since the launch of the Blue Way Guide in that year alone. So you can tell that all of these projects that we've been working on, all of the investment from Rockingham County Tourism has been huge. And you'll see that this is the tourism spending trends, and they just recently started adding recreation spending on that. So we just wanted to share that as we continue to get more recreation spending on this map, like we're positive that it'll continue to increase, because recreation is something that you maybe don't need as much money for, but you can still have a great time and experience a beautiful place. And I'd like to highlight that the programming that we've had in this region, for example, the Mighty Mayo River Trip, Dan River Weekend, Dan River Basins for Saturday outings, festivals, and collaborations with other project partners has been huge in bringing people into this community to learn what we're about. So Lindsay's going to talk about one of the programming events that we have in the region.
All right, thank you, Anna. So just a really quick example to kind of put it into perspective, what that economic impact looks like and that return on investment. NC NICA is a major youth sports tourism engine in North Carolina and in Rockingham County. So it provides middle and high school students across the state with the opportunity to participate in competitive and recreational mountain biking. They come up to Ferris Park once a year, sometimes twice a year. An average, just a next slide here, the average race weekend, you're looking at over $100,000 just in one weekend. So you've got families coming in from all over the state, and every county, all 100 counties, and a typical, like I mentioned, a typical race weekend generates an average of $100,000 in direct local spending. Families typically spend on, obviously, lodging, because they're staying here overnight, food and beverage, fuel and transportation, and you can see that impact, and that's just typically 3 days. That if we continue to build out these resources, for instance, and you'll see in the very last, next to last slide, we're adding more trail out at Ferris Park. So what would that mean? What will 5 more miles of additional mountain biking trail, what will that do to attract more races like NICA? Right now, the Body Armor Games with the state Body Armor Games are set to go to Ferris Park this month. So each time we host one of those races, that is having some type of positive economic impact on our county and the town of Mayodan or whomever's hosting that event. And you can see right here, I did some Googling one time with the Citizens Academy and some other presentations that I've given, and there is something they brought up called like the tourism growth cycle. And this kind of just summarizes everything we've gone through, in that partnerships build strong project ideas. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the ideas. I lean on our partners, our municipal partners, our nonprofit partners, for those ideas. I lean on our community as well. And collaboration helps secure grants and funding. You saw that over the last 10 years, how much money we've been able to secure, and we keep securing grants for outdoor recreation. And projects improve visitor experiences. And visitors spend money in the community. We know this. And increased visitor spending supports future tourism growth. So you can see this right now with this map of our recent projects. Some are completed, some are currently underway. And to note a few of these projects, which are in the millions of dollars. We have the Washington Mills Park project in Mayodan. We have the Dan River Greenway extension that we're all a part of right now that's in Eden. Like I mentioned before, Ferris Park, looking at 5 miles of additional trail there. Hogan's Creek Park, which is actually a county managed park out in Stokesdale. We received just under $300,000 in grant funding to add 5 miles of multi-use trail out there. We're working with some of our other NCDOT partners on a river access on Highway 14 in Eden on the Smith River. Downtown Madison is getting ready to open their new downtown river park. They're off the 704 access. We're getting ready to reopen Jacobs Creek River access. And in addition, there'll be a new park to that as well. And this is, Lake Reidsville is getting a new outdoor education classroom. And this is just to name a few. And there are a lot more that are kind of in the queue. We're just waiting for the right time to apply for certain grants and to finish up our public engagement pieces and basically follow what we've planned out, what we've planned through those plans you saw in the beginning, and see what the next steps are. And lastly, I'm going to let Jesse Day speak and kind of wrap this all up.
Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing the amount of investment over the last several years. I mean, think about $18 million for outdoor recreation and the return it's providing. So kudos to the county for doing that. Kudos to Lindsay for helping to kind of coordinate those efforts and all the partners up here. Yeah, so I mean, everything that's been said, I'm just going to kind of reiterate, but I want to add a few other points. I mean, so $16 million of state investment, that requires local match and input. So keep that in mind as you think about investments that can leverage so much more dollars, right? Between the Great Trail State Coalition, Part F, I know the slide showed all of those funding partners, the toll credit support for the Mayodan Trail, pretty amazing, all those projects that are underway. One other thing I want to mention too, I mean, there's a lot of stats local to Rockingham County that Anna shared, but the state just did a statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, finished it up last year. They do a survey of respondents. Over 80% of people of that responding to that survey and that plan wanted more places to walk and hike. So continued investment in that will attract more residents and support economic development. And then just lastly, I'd say, wrong way. You mentioned the partnerships. All of us work for different entities up here. Those funders really emphasize those partnerships. So if you can match up with, nonprofit, with state grants, that sort of thing at the county level, that can really provide some dividends going down there. So what we'd like to ask you to do, Palmer mentioned adopting a resolution of support in 2018. That's 8 years ago, hard to believe. But now is a time to re-adopt that resolution of support. So we ask that you entertain that tonight. I mentioned the partnerships, that leveraging $16 million in state funding, it requires local action. So continuing to prioritize that and look at, more sustainable ways of funding investment into the future too, whether that's partnering with municipalities in the county, nonprofits, and other entities. I hope that you consider that going forward. I know you're entering, our next agenda item is budget, so always a good time to be thinking about funding and supporting this effort as you think about next year's fiscal budget. Thank you.
Seed planted, great job.
Okay.
Thank you. Gentlemen, do we have any questions? Any questions? Well, do we want to adopt a resolution of support? Do we have a motion?
Motion.
All right, we do have a motion. Is there a second?
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. And all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. Motion carries. Thank you,
Yeah,
folks. We appreciate you being here
I want
tonight.
to take a second to thank, I get to see Jesse frequently. And, but Palmer and your colleagues there from the Dan River Basin, we don't get to see you so much, but a lot's going on, and we appreciate all the support that happens out there. Jesse would tell him my constant question every time I see him is, how much money do you have for us today? And sometimes he has some. It's not too bad. Anyhow, thank you for all you do on behalf of Rockingham County.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for your presentation tonight. Our next item on our agenda will be a presentation by our county manager of the budget. Lance, will it be as high energy as Lindsay's presentation?
It'll be entertaining, but it won't be as entertaining as theirs.
use this.
Which one advances it? That one?
You can use the keyboard or.
Well, I'll use this. Okay, Mr. Vice Chair and Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to present the fiscal year 26-27 recommended budget.
I would second it.
Take this opportunity to thank the budget team members, Derek Southern, Mandy McGee, Justin Thacker, and Olivia Leggett, especially Mr. Southern and Ms. Leggett. The team has worked very hard to put together a solid budget for you all this year. In this slide, you'll see your vision, your mission statement, and your strategic focus areas that you all approved earlier in the year, and this is how we based our budget development from. Our guiding principles were to present a fiscally responsible budget with no tax increase, maintain a competitive pay structure, and identify ways to improve employee retention, and to continually to develop and implement the capital improvement plan. The formal budget process started in February, but the informal process of preparing and forecasting began in late 2025. After we received all the requests in, we had a general budget deficit of $22 million, or equivalent to almost 17 cents of property tax rate. The recommended budget reflects a slight decrease in tax rate from 58.01 cents to 57.90 cents. The total general fund balance is $140,523,568, which represents an 8.68% increase from last year. I've included the school's PAYGO funding in the amount of $8,575,000 to increase the transparency to our citizens. This equates to roughly 6% of the overall 8.68% increase. Our total budget is $192,989,361, which includes all of our funds, including our enterprise funds. The value of the penny is $1,284,234, or a $26,823 increase over last year. Revenues, the county's projected tax base is $3.09 billion, which reflects a 2.67% increase from last year. The ad valorem is the largest source of discretionary revenue and are comprised of three parts: real and personal property, which is projected to increase by 1.62% compared to 4.85% last year. Public utilities is expected to increase by 2.5% compared to 4.29% last year. And motor vehicles, which is projected to increase by 5.75% compared to less than 1% last year. The collection is expected to be a little less than it was in the past year. The 26-27 ad valorem tax will yield $74.5 million compared to our projection from last year at $72.9 million, which is only a $1.6 million increase from last year to this year. Sales tax is expected to generate a little over $19 million. This figure also includes the quarter-cent sales tax, which reflects an increase of 1.33%. Other key revenue changes: EMS fees are expected to increase by 10.47%. We projected an increase in interest earned by 10%. Our finance department did a great job of locking in a solid rate for this upcoming year. And we were seeing almost a $1 million decrease in funding from DSS, and that goes primarily to how the feds match the county. It could be from 75 to 50% or 50% to 25%. So we're losing out on that. I'm recommending to appropriate approximately $4.3 million from fund balance, the usual $2.5 million plug that we do every year, $315,733 for allowable one-time expenses, and $489,109 in unearned salaries due to changes in retirement and COLA, which we do not anticipate using. This is just a dollar breakdown to show where all your revenues are going. We'll talk about expenditures and positions. I'm recommending in this current budget 5 paramedic positions to fund a peak hour shift at the Stokesdale Fire Department, a dental hygienist position in public health, a grant writer position in administration, which we've talked about for several years, 3 water and sewer positions so that we can have better oversight and operations, of our water and sewer system and to terminate our contract with our third party that we currently utilize. And lastly, to reclassify a position in social services to better serve our staff and our clientele. As you all know, we're in a constant battle with municipalities and other counties to recruit and retain staff. So we're recommending a 2% cost of living increase and a 1% for vacant positions and an average of a 3% performance merit. Again, as you're aware, we're facing challenges like most other localities in the state. We have to compete with benefits above and beyond salary compensation. We're encouraging departments to engage staff in training and those in leadership positions to learn additional skills and lead in leading and managing. We encourage utilization of our employee assistance program and participation in the 401k match as you guys approved last year. And lastly, I'm recommending this year that we reinstate the health care coverage for eligible employees at retirement until Medicare coverage starts. I'm recommending utilizing a little more than $2 million for capital improvement projects. Recommended projects are animal shelter upgrades, update of the Eden Library, parking lot improvements, and updates to the Western EMS base, and a continuation of funding for building expansion and future public buildings, which we'll discuss at our budget meeting on the 29th. The school board requested almost $8 million increase in operations and no increase in capital outlay. I'm recommending no increase to current expense or capital outlay. I did include, again, the pay-go projects totaling over $8.5 million in the budget for additional transparency so the public and everybody can see where the funds are going from those funds. RCC requested almost 11% increase in operations and 100.43% increase in capital outlay. The budget recommendation is not to include an increase in current year's allocation and no increase in capital outlay. I did recommend using $250,000 for the quarter cent sales tax for the operation of the Workforce Development Center as they requested. Last year, you all approved around $180,000 to use for this. RCC will bring a more detailed quarter cent sales tax request in the summer. We had two fire departments, Bethany and Monroe, request a tax increase rate. Both Derek and I did meet with those particular departments for their justifications, and their justifications to us seemed like they were fair. They are and or will be having community meetings prior to your retreat, and we emphasized the importance you all talked about getting the word out to the public, be it flyers. It's not just going to have a dinner and then go over into the meeting. It's going to be specifically for the discussion of this and the impacts of this in their community. So they have assured us they're going to be doing that. They will be here on May 29th to answer any questions you have, but they seem to be well prepared when they came to talk to us. Just in conclusion, I must commend the staff that we worked with in preparing the budget. They were diligent and held the line with their requests for the most part. I feel confident that we are well positioned to handle economic uncertainties and community needs in the budget. The next steps we'll have a budget work session on May 29th at 9 a.m. in here, and the public hearing will be held on June 1st at 6:30 p.m. in the board chambers. So thank you for allowing me to present you my fiscal year 26-27 recommended budget. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. We appreciate the work you and staff have done to produce this budget. I know it's not an easy task to do every year. And it's just, I don't know if we have any questions at this time. I know we'll be asking a lot of questions Friday week. But gentlemen, do we have anything to ask Lance at the moment? That being said, we'll move on to new business. Mr. Manager, do we have new business tonight?
No, sir.
That we will move to commissioner comments. Commissioner Callum.
I'd like to thank all the staff and Daniel that put on the Citizens Night. I think they did a great job, had a great turnout of people. Look forward to seeing that again. And a great turnout tonight for everybody who was in the Citizens Academy as well. So I think that's two good programs going on and shows success in our county and shows success of the people coming to be a part of it. And I'd like to thank everybody tonight who showed up. And with that, I yield. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Callum. Commissioner Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As usual, I like to acknowledge contributions of our staff, and particularly, though I have mentioned this before, is Justin Thacker, who has done yeoman's labor there. And I'm sure Olivia and Tinley and those folks that worked with him appreciate the other things that he does don't get very visible. And a lot of times when we need facts and figures, Justin's a man, and he has been keeping up with expenditures and where it's going, and he raises a flag whenever he thinks money's not going in the right direction. So thank you, Justin. I would commend to you the trails presentation that you had here. Those folks work constantly to improve the recreational facilities throughout the county, and at any given time when I go over to harass Lindley or some of the folks there and ask them what's going on, I'm still looking for a zip line, by the way, but okay. They always have something going on, and they're always looking to finance through grants and reduce the impact upon our budget. So many thanks to all those folks in economic development that are working on those projects. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Berger?
Yes, want to thank all the citizens that participated in the Citizen Academy. I'm sure was eye-opening as far as everything involved with county government, and certainly appreciate the staff members that helped put that on, and really appreciate that. And want to thank the family of Richard Earl Carden for being here tonight. I think it was great to be able to honor them. Also, I know Lance said it's not easy. He's able to summarize it in 10 minutes. But it is a lot of work behind the scenes as far as Lance and the administrative staff. So appreciate you putting together this budget and look forward to working with you again on it. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Berger. Well, I agree. I appreciate those from Citizens Academy being here tonight. Also, last week I had the pleasure of speaking to the graduates at Leadership Rockingham. That was a group of 20 to 30 people as well who were looking at leadership and taking on roles in the community. And we appreciate that. So many times we look around and saying, you know, who's going to replace these people? Who's coming along? And it's wonderful to see some of these folks who are willing to step up and learn what's happening and get involved. So we appreciate that. Also tonight, I was tickled to see former County Commissioner Don Powell with us, as well as elected officials. Sam Page was here tonight with us. With that, we will be in recess until our budget workshop, which is May 29th at 9 o'clock in the morning. Since I'm declaring a recess, it doesn't have to be voted on, so we will be in recess.
Mr. Chair, can I make one more announcement?
Yes, sir.
I would be remiss if we didn't recognize Tinley for her leadership with the Citizens Academy. She did a great job. She and Daniel worked together as co-captains to take that on, so I just wanted to make sure that she was acknowledged for that hard work and dedication.
Thank you. I appreciate that reminder. Thank you. Very good. Well, we'll be in recess until Friday morning, May 29th, 9 a.m. Thank you.